Close your eyes for a moment and take a deep breath. Now ask yourself, what if the divisions we see in this world are not as real as we think? What if behind the labels, the languages, the lands, lies one timeless truth, one origin, one divine light, one breath that fills all of us? My brothers and sisters, today is not about comparison, it's about connection. This isn't about who is right and who is wrong. This is about stepping into a sacred space where the soul seeks understanding, not judgment. In a world that moves too fast, where headlines divide and differences shout louder than similarities, we're pausing. We're going deeper. We're going back to the roots. Because whether you call him Allah or speak of Brahman, there is a whisper in every heart that says, I was made by something greater. And that whisper, my friends, is not exclusive. It's not owned by one tradition. It is gifted to every soul. Tonight, I want to walk with you, not to argue, not to debate, but to reflect, to ask, are Hinduism and Islam more alike than we've been told? Is there a divine thread that runs through both? And if there is, what does that mean for how we live, how we love, and how we treat one another? Stay with me till the end, because what you're about to hear might challenge you, it might humble you, but most of all, it will awaken something ancient in you, something real, something unbreakable, truth. And truth, my friend, doesn't belong to one, it belongs to all. Let's begin. One of the most striking and foundational similarities between Hinduism and Islam is the belief in one supreme being, even though the expressions of that belief may look different on the surface. In Islam, Allah is the one, eternal, unseen creator, without shape, partner, or limitation. The Quran says, say he is Allah, the one and only, Allah the eternal absolute. He begets not, nor is he begotten, and there is none like unto him. Surah Ikhlas 1:12-1:4. This is a clear, powerful declaration of pure monotheism. Now, turn to the deeper teachings of Hinduism, particularly Vedanta philosophy, and you find something profound. Beneath the imagery, rituals, and symbols, Hindu scriptures speak of Brahman, the ultimate reality, the formless, all-encompassing, unchanging truth. The Upanishads, the spiritual heart of Hindu thought, declare Ekam Advitiyam Brahma. Brahman is one without a second. So here's the point. Both traditions speak of one divine source. Islam calls it Tawheed, and Hinduism refers to it as Advaita. One God, no partners, no idols, no divisions, just infinite, absolute presence. Now, many see Hinduism as polytheistic, but when you peel back the layers, the learned sages of Hinduism say clearly the various gods are manifestations, not rivals. They are like rays from the same sun, representing aspects of the divine, not replacing the one. This is not about merging religions. It's about recognizing shared truths that lead to greater respect. When we understand this common ground, we no longer fear each other's beliefs. We begin to see the reflection of the same light shining through different windows. And in that moment, we move from division to divine understanding. That's how peace begins. That's where unity is born. Another powerful commonality between Hinduism and Islam lies in their deep reverence for prophets, messengers, and divine guidance. In Islam, the concept of prophecy is crystal clear. Allah has sent prophets to every nation, every community, to guide them toward truth, righteousness, and the worship of the one Creator. From Adam to Noah, from Abraham to Moses, from Jesus to the final messenger, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon them all. These were not just men, they were chosen, elevated by God to be carriers of divine revelation. Now take a moment to reflect on the ancient world of Hinduism. While the terminology may be different, the idea is strikingly familiar. Hindu texts speak of rishis and avatars, sages and divine incarnations who came into the world to establish Dharma, the divine order, and to lead people out of darkness into light. Names like Rama, Krishna, Vyasa, these figures were seen as embodying divine wisdom and moral strength, just as Muslims view the prophets. Let's not get lost in the labels. Whether we say Nabi or Rishi, Rasul or Avatar, the core idea is this: God does not leave humanity without guidance. Both traditions believe in divine intervention in human history, in men of God who walk among people to remind them of higher truths. But here's what's even more inspiring. Both Hinduism and Islam emphasize moral accountability and spiritual purity. The Prophet Muhammad said, "I was sent to perfect good character." Hindu scriptures echo this with teachings that stress truth, nonviolence, purity of heart, and compassion as the highest virtues. So what's the message here? It's not that one faith copies the other. It's that the same divine source has always been reaching out to humanity in different lands, through different languages, and yes, different traditions. When we stop debating and start listening, we realize that God's mercy, wisdom, and love are far greater than the boxes we try to put them in. The light of truth doesn't belong to one group, it shines for all. And maybe, just maybe, if we listen closely, we'll hear the same call echoing through every path that seeks Him. Another profound connection between Hinduism and Islam can be found in the shared emphasis on spiritual discipline and detachment from materialism. Though the languages, cultures, and outward practices may differ, both faiths speak the same truth when it comes to the inner struggle: the purification of the heart and the rejection of the ego and worldly temptations. In Islam, this inner struggle is called jihad al-nafs, the battle against the lower self. It is not about violence, as often misunderstood, but about defeating greed, envy, pride, and arrogance within. It's about standing before God with a clean heart. The Quran says, "Successful indeed is the one who purifies the soul," a powerful reminder that victory is not in conquering others, but in conquering yourself. Now turn to the sacred texts of Hinduism, and you'll find the same spiritual call. The Bhagavad Gita, a revered Hindu scripture, tells us that the real warrior is not the one who fights a battle outside, but the one who controls the senses, subdues desires, and devotes his life to truth and righteousness. Krishna teaches Arjuna that detachment from the fruit of actions and complete surrender to the divine is the way to liberation. Both traditions teach that the body is temporary, but the soul is eternal, and that the highest goal is not material success, but spiritual awakening. In Islam, we say this world is a test, a temporary abode. In Hinduism, the world is Maya, an illusion not to be clung to. In both, the soul's journey is toward union with the One, whether we call Him Allah, Ishwar, or simply the Supreme. And what's the path? Prayer, remembrance, meditation, fasting, charity, self-control. These spiritual practices are the heartbeat of both faiths. They teach us to look inward, to silence the noise of the world, and to listen to the still voice of the Creator. So when you strip away the outer layers, the rituals, the customs, the cultural clothing, you see a mirror. Two great rivers flowing from the same source, calling us to rise above the ego, to live with humility, and to recognize that the real temple, the real mosque, is inside us. And that is where God has always waited. Another powerful parallel between Hinduism and Islam lies in their deep-rooted belief in divine accountability and justice. The idea that our actions are being recorded, our choices carry eternal consequences, and one day, each of us will stand before the Creator to answer for how we live. In Islam, this concept is central. The Quran repeatedly reminds believers of the day of judgment, Yawm al-Qiyamah. It's the day when every soul will be called to account. The angels are writing, the deeds are recorded, and the scale will be set. Whether hidden or open, every action, every intention will be exposed before Allah, the most just, the all-knowing. There is no favoritism, no status, no escape from truth. Only mercy, only justice. That is the ultimate reckoning. Now turn the pages of Hindu scripture. In the Garuda Purana, in the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, you will find the very same message, that there is karma, the divine law of cause and effect. What you sow, you shall reap. If you commit injustice, if you lie, cheat, hurt others, it does not vanish. It is stored and it will return to you, either in this life, the next, or after death. The soul passes through cycles, and only the one who lives righteously in alignment with Dharma will be granted peace and liberation. Both religions teach that life is not meaningless, and nothing we do is forgotten. Behind every moment, behind every choice, there is the watching eye of the divine. This awareness, this moral compass, is what lifts a person from being a mere animal driven by instincts to a conscious, accountable being made in the image of the Creator. In Islam, this awareness is called taqwa, God consciousness. In Hinduism, it is cultivated through bhakti, devotion, and jnana, wisdom. These aren't just rituals. They are ways to stay connected to the inner voice, to the divine presence, and to remember that we are not alone in our decisions. We are walking a path that echoes into eternity. And so when we say Hinduism and Islam are more similar than we think, this is not a statement of blending the two. It is a recognition of the shared divine DNA between them. Both call us to be better, both warn us of consequences, both hold us to a higher standard. That's not coincidence. That's truth. And truth, my friend, knows no boundary. Now let's talk about one of the most profound similarities between Hinduism and Islam, the concept of oneness, surrender, and the ultimate purpose of life. When you strip away the languages, the cultures, the rituals, you'll find at the core of both these faiths a powerful call to recognize the divine, to submit to the higher will, and to live a life of righteousness and self-realization. In Islam, this is crystal clear. The word Islam itself means submission to the will of Allah. A Muslim is one who surrenders, not in weakness, but in trust, trusting that the Creator knows better than the creation, that beyond our limited understanding, there is divine wisdom at play. And every day, 5 times a day, Muslims bow their heads and hearts, not to a man, not to an idol, but to the unseen, all-powerful, all-knowing Allah. That is not just prayer, that is purpose. Now look into the heart of Hinduism. What does it teach? It teaches Atman, the soul, and Brahman, the supreme, formless, eternal reality. Hinduism, in its highest teachings, says the purpose of life is to realize that your soul is not separate from the divine, that everything around you, the wind, the fire, the stars, is a manifestation of one supreme being, and the ego, the material desires, the distractions, they all blind us from seeing that truth. So the soul must walk the path through devotion, bhakti, through knowledge, jnana, through action, karma yoga, and arrive at that final destination, oneness with God. Now you tell me, is this not similar? Both faiths demand discipline. Both call for spiritual surrender. Both invite the seeker to let go of ego, pride, and illusion and return to the source. One bows in salah, the other meditates in silence. But both are trying to do the same thing: silence the noise of the world and listen to the voice of the Creator. In Islam, the Quran says, "Verily, in the remembrance of Allah do hearts find rest." Surah Ar-Hadid 13:28. And in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, "Fix your mind on me, be devoted to me, and you shall come to me." The destination is the same. The path may differ in form, but not in essence. Let me be real with you. This isn't about merging religions. It's about opening our eyes to the divine fingerprints across humanity. It's about breaking the walls of ignorance and building bridges of understanding, because when you look beyond the surface, beyond the labels and the fears, you see that the human heart has always cried out for the same thing: truth, love, guidance, and peace. So whether you were raised hearing Allahu Akbar or Om Shanti, the call is the same. Return to the source, surrender to the one, and walk the path of righteousness. That's the root of Islam, that's the root of Hinduism, and that's the root of your soul. Now let's get into something real deep. The concept of divine justice and the moral accountability of the soul. Because let me tell you, both Hinduism and Islam don't just give you stories and rules, they give you a framework for life and a warning for the hereafter. They say this life right here, it's not a playground, it's a test. In Islam, the Quran is clear. Every soul will be held accountable. Every deed, every word, every intention. Written down by angels, recorded without missing a beat. And on the day of judgment, those records will be brought forth. You won't be judged by what people thought of you, not by your wealth, your fame, your name, but by your truth, your sincerity, your obedience to the Creator. Whoever does an atom's weight of good will see it, and whoever does an atom's weight of evil will see it. Qur'an 99:7-8. That's justice. That's balance. Now you go into Hinduism, what do you find? This same principle presented through karma and dharma. Karma means your actions echo. What you do in this life doesn't vanish into the air. No, sir. It returns to you in this life or the next. And dharma, that's your divine duty, your righteous path. If you walk your dharma, if you live in truth, compassion, and discipline, you rise. But if you break it, ignore it, live selfishly, your soul is bound to the cycle of birth and death, samsara, until it learns the lesson. Both of these traditions, Islam and Hinduism, they don't promise you comfort, they promise you clarity. They say, wake up, this world is temporary. What you plant now, you will harvest later. So choose wisely, live justly, walk humbly. Let's talk consequences too. In Islam, there is heaven and hell, both vividly described in the Quran. But it's not about fear-mongering, it's a reality check. It's a call to action, that the most merciful is also the most just, and no injustice will go unaccounted for. You want paradise? You walk the walk. You live with taqwa, God consciousness. In Hinduism, liberation from the cycle of rebirth, moksha, is the goal. That's freedom, that's eternal peace. But to get there, you must transcend ignorance, conquer your lower self, and realize the divine. You must detach from the illusion, Maya, and see what's real. Now I want you to pause and reflect. These are not contradictions, these are confirmations. Two rivers flowing from different lands but drawing from the same spiritual ocean. They both teach your life is a story and every page matters. They both say justice is coming, so make sure your soul is in order. Don't let the noise fool you. Don't let division blind you to divine truth. Hinduism and Islam, though distinct, echo the same eternal voice. Live with purpose, treat others with mercy, walk toward the light. That's the essence of righteousness. That's the legacy of the prophets. That's the wisdom of the sages. And whether you bow in a mosque or meditate in a temple, if your heart is sincere, if your actions are righteous, then know this, the Creator sees you and the truth will always rise. So now, my brothers and sisters, let's come full circle. After everything we've unpacked, the sacred scriptures, the divine attributes, the moral codes, the teachings of karma and quadra, the discipline of prayer and meditation, the vision of justice and mercy, we've got to ask the question, what's the bigger picture here? Let me tell you something, this ain't about saying everything is the same. No, sir. Hinduism and Islam have different paths, different languages, different expressions of the divine. But beneath the surface, deeper than dogma, deeper than debate, there is something familiar. There's a rhythm, a pulse, a heartbeat that says, you are not your ego. You are not just flesh. You are a soul, born for purpose, made for eternity. Both faiths say, humble yourself. Not just before the rituals, but before the one who gave you life. Both say, clean your heart, check your character, speak the truth, do good when nobody's watching. Both teach the universe is not an accident, it is created with meaning, and so is your life. The words might differ, the names might sound foreign, but the essence, the call to righteousness, to self-discipline, and to divine love, that is shared. And that's not a coincidence. That's a sign. Allah says in the Quran, indeed, those who believe and those who are Jews and Christians and Sabians, whoever believes in Allah and the last day and does righteousness, will have their reward with their Lord. 262. Now think about that. It's not about claiming superiority. It's about walking the walk. It's about standing in truth. In Hinduism, the Upanishads say, truth is one, though the sages call it by many names. Again, different expression, same principle. You see the divisions that we fight over today? Most of them are man-made, political, cultural, ego-driven. But the divine is not divided. The Creator is one, and He has always sent guidance to all people in all lands, different prophets, different languages, but the same message. Live right. Honor God. Love one another. So don't be afraid to learn. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't close your heart just because someone prays differently than you. Open it, listen, understand. You don't have to abandon your path to respect someone else's. You just have to walk yours with sincerity and light. Because in the end, when we stand before the Almighty, it won't be about the name of your tribe or the color of your skin. It will be about your soul, your deeds, your compassion, your truth. So let's rise above division. Let's seek wisdom wherever it's found. Let's honor the Creator by honoring His creation. That, my friends, is the true meeting point of Hinduism and Islam, not sameness. And that's something worth remembering. That's something worth living.